Episode 8.
Jihad, Islamic Holy War. Jihad is a call to Islam. The relentless and often vicious persecution of Christians and non-Muslims by Muslims is seldom recognized or understood. Many assume that the concept of jihad or holy war, espoused by Muslim leaders like the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran, was an aberration not truly representative of Islam. Quote, "We shall export our revolution to the whole world. Until the cry, Allah Akbar, resounds over the whole world, there will be struggle. There will be jihad. Islam is the religion of militant individuals. Islam will be victorious in all the countries of the world, and Islam and the teachings of the Quran will prevail all over the world. This is the duty that all Muslims must fulfill." End quote. These were the often repeated public pronouncements of the Ayatollah Khomeini after the revolution in Iran in 1979, quoted from The Blood of the Moon by George Grant. Nor was the Ayatollah alone in such militant threats. Abdul Aziz bin Saud of Saudi Arabia declared, quote, "We shall never call for or accept a negotiated peace. We shall only accept war, jihad, the holy war. We have resolved to drench the lands of Palestine and Arabia with the blood of the infidels, or to accept martyrdom for the glory of Allah." End quote. The former president of Sudan, Lieutenant General Omar al-Bashir, often spoke of jihad. At the 40th anniversary of Sudan's independence, al-Bashir celebrated the spirit of jihad which was engulfing the people of Sudan. The head of Sudan's ruling party, the National Islamic Front, NIF, Dr. Hassan al-Turabi, often declared his goal of an Islamic empire controlling, initially, the Horn of Africa, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, Uganda and Sudan. This he calls the Grand Islamic Project. At a 2-week conference of Muslim leaders from 80 countries, hosted by Muammar Gaddafi in Tripoli, Libya, October 1995, strategies to transform Africa into an Islamic continent were discussed. Participants openly admitted that their goals were to make Arabic the primary language of the continent and Islam the official religion. One South African member of Parliament, Farouk Kassim, declared, quote, "It will probably be the biggest revolution to sweep Africa." End quote. Head of the Islamic Propagation Center International, IPCI, Yusuf Didat, announced afterwards that South Africa was high on the agenda of the Islamic offensive. Quote, "We are going to turn South Africa into a Muslim state. We have the money to do it," end quote, he said. Sunday Times, 22nd of October, 1995. At present, less than 2% of South Africans are Muslims. Jihad is path to Sharia. Furthermore, in 2001, at an Islamic seminar in Kaduna, organized by the newly established Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, former Nigeria head of state, was given an opportunity to choose between Nigeria's secularism and fundamentalist Islam. This is what he said, quote, "I will continue to show openly and inside me the total commitment to Sharia movement that is sweeping all over Nigeria." He then added, "God willing, we will not stop the agitation for total implementation of the Sharia in the country." He said, "It is a legal responsibility which God has given us, within the context of one Nigeria, to continue to uphold the practice of Sharia wholeheartedly." End quote. So Muhammadu Buhari has not left us in doubt of his motivation and that of his co-travelers when they retort, "Nigeria is indivisible and indissoluble," pushing back the clamour for restructuring of the country to what it was, a federation. Islam, Sharia and Jihad all have one goal: to rule the entire world and subjugate all of mankind to the faith of Islam. He had called for Muslims at the 16th National Quranic Recitation in Gusau, Zamfara State, to vote at the 2003 presidential elections only for someone who would defend and uphold the tenets of Islam. In fact, he told Muslims that they had every reason to thank Allah for restoring the Islamic Sharia under the dispensation then, which he said was destroyed by British colonialists during their crusade in 1903 against the Sokoto Caliphate. Also, as the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, General Muhammadu Buhari warned of massive bloodshed ahead of 2015 polls, if the elections were not transparent and fair, that the monkeys and baboons will be soaked in blood. He said this in Hausa language for effective communication with his constituency. Similar calls led to the bloodbath that visited post-2011 presidential polls he lost when he told his followers to lynch anybody who attempted to tinker with the votes. Human Rights Watch reported more than 800 people were killed and 65,000 displaced in 3 days of violence. Rioting erupted in cities in the mostly Muslim north after Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian from the south, was declared the winner of the vote, which was deemed by observers and many Nigerians to have been the country's most credible elections in years. Dr. Dele Sobowale, a Vanguard newspaper columnist, wrote of President Buhari government in June 2021, quote, "Some of those who got us into what can only be described as Buhari trap acted with good intentions. That virtually all the members of the 6 legacy parties that founded APC laboured under the same collective delusion that they could create a modern leader of a democracy out of Buhari." End quote. A dream that has turned to a national nightmare. Dr. Sobowale said he became uneasy about Buhari's personality in 2010 when called upon to help develop the Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, economic blueprint for governance. One of the 4 pillars of the candidate's character that gave him concern is pertinent. Quote, "He is a Muslim fundamentalist who might, under the right set of circumstances, join or lead a jihad." End quote. There were other voices like his that have helped to ensure the social and political mobilization against Nigeria's secular, democratic status, and have created a breeding ground for groups like Boko Haram. These include some northern Muslim political elite as well as emirs. For example, Emir of Suleja, Alhaji Ahwal Ibrahim, refused to pay a condolence visit to St. Teresa Catholic Church, Madala, Suleja, Niger State, which was bombed by Boko Haram on Christmas Day 2011, until political pressure was mounted on him to do the needful. In his understanding, it was, after all, getting rid of kafir, or disbelievers in Allah. But President Muhammadu Buhari has never yielded to such persuasion from any quarter, not even when over 70 villages were killed by Fulani herdsmen in Benue State, nor any of the massacres in Kaduna State. These voices of Sharia and lovers of jihad have not concealed their position as regards the Nigeria project. It is only other Nigerians who are trying to polish their position to make it acceptable for political convenience. But the advocates for the spread of Sharia to every facet of Nigerian life have not disguised their goal. Islam is perpetual jihad. What very few non-Muslims understand, however, is that those Muslim leaders who call for the overthrow of governments and the establishment of an Islamic superstate controlling all aspects of life for every person are not extremists on the fringe of Islam. Actually, jihad, the subjugation and forcible conversion of all people to Islam and world domination, is a central tenet of Islam. Jihad is ranked by many Muslims as the sixth pillar of Islam. The only difference between moderate Muslims and Muslim fundamentalists or terrorists is when and how jihad is to be launched. When Muslims increase in awareness of the sayings, actions, and practices of Prophet Muhammad, who is a model for Muslims to follow, or increase in the knowledge of Islam, they all come into agreement. Jihad was so important to Muhammad, the apostle of Islam, that he declared it to be the second most important deed in Islam. Allah's messenger was asked, "What is the best deed?" He replied, "To believe in Allah and His messenger." The questioner then asked, "What is the next?" "In goodness." He replied, "To participate in jihad, religious fighting, in Allah's cause." The Hadith, Al-Bukhari, Volume 1, number 25. Muslims, in fact, divide the whole world into two sectors: Dar al-Islam, the House of Islam, and Dar al-Harb, the House of War. The only countries considered to be at peace are those where Islamic law, the Sharia, is enforced. Islam does not recognize the right of any other religion or worldview to exist. Therefore, Muslims see themselves as a peacemaking force, using intrigue, commerce, threats, terrorism, warfare, and every other means possible to secure Islam as the only religion worldwide. Muslims are not permitted to make peace with non-Muslims nor a country until its inhabitants surrender to Islam. They can agree to a ceasefire for a while, but never to make peace with non-Muslims. The Quran teaches that Muslims are superior to others. Ye, Muslims, are the best of peoples evolved for mankind. Surah 3 and 110. Furthermore, Muslims are forbidden to befriend Jews or Christians. O ye who believe, take not the Jews and the Christians for your friends and protectors. They are but friends and protectors to each other, and he amongst you that turns to them for friendship is one of them. Surah 5 and 54. Islam instructs its adherents to fight until their opponents submit. Christians and Jews may be spared if they pay jizya, a penalty tax, with willing submission. Fight those who believe not in Allah, nor the last day, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, even if they are of the people of the book, until they pay jizya, tribute taxes, with willing submission, and feel themselves subdued. Surah 9 and 29. Fight and slay the pagans wherever ye find them, and seize them, beleaguer them, and lie in wait, ambush, for them in every stratagem of war. But if they repent and establish regular prayers and practice regular charity, then open the way for them. Surah 9 and 5, also 2 and 193. For those who resist Islam, execution or mutilation is decreed. The punishment of those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger, and strive with might and main for mischief through the land, is execution or crucifixion, or the cutting off of the hands and feet from opposite sides, or exile from the land. Surah 5 and 36. The Hadith, which is a record of the words and deeds of Muhammad, is also viewed by Muslims as inspired. Next to the Quran, it is the most important source of Islamic law. Its teachings are regarded as binding on all Muslims. The Hadith teaches that apostasy is punishable by death. Whoever changes his Islamic religion, kill him. Volume 9 and 57. A Muslim may not be punished for killing a non-Muslim. No Muslim should be killed for killing a kafir or infidel. Volume 9 and 50. Jihad in victory or defeat. Those who die in holy war are guaranteed to go to heaven. The person who participates in jihad, holy battles, in Allah's cause, and nothing compels him to do so except belief in Allah and His Messenger, will be recompensed by Allah either with a reward or booty if he survives, or will be admitted to paradise if he is killed. Volume 1 and 35. It may be hard for Christians to understand the concept of such a militant religion, but the primary aim of Islam is not spiritual, but political. The ultimate purpose of Islam is the establishment of a worldwide Islamic state where Sharia law is enforced on all. The obligation is incumbent on all Muslims to realize the will of Allah.
Thank you for listening to episode 8 of Show the House to the House. You can now listen to episode 9 on the same channel.